guys. Hope you guys have been doing well and that you guys have had a good week and a good month. We are already embarking our last month of the year. And so I think I'm going to have quite a bit of content that I'm going to probably put out over the next few weeks here as we kind of wind down as I'm probably going to be tapering off a little bit on the trading end just because I have had an exceptional year. One of the videos will speak to what that success looks like, but that's not what I'm here to talk about today. Today, I actually want to share about Lucid Trading. So I had the opportunity to kind of attend their town hall today and learn a lot about the prop firm itself. And they just recently rolled out, sorry, a very solid prop plan. And so I want to kind of actually go over a few of the details here. But before I kind of jump straight into it, I want to go over just kind of what prop firms mean to me and the way that I look at it. And so, for those who do not know, my name's Alan. I go by the alias of Azang Trades in the trading space. Those who've known me from a very long time will remember me calling myself as Uchiha Trades. Um, and so, I am going to go into this kind of coming from a business mindset. For those who don't know, I am a business consultant by trade. So professionally, that is actually what I spend my core amount of time doing is working with entrepreneurs, building businesses, and helping them build whether it's small or large scale businesses and help them be successful in that. So with that, I do generally kind of even come into trading with that kind of same mindset. So the first thing I want to talk about is really, before we diving right into lucid trading specific, what I want everyone here to think about is that when we think about what prop firms mean to us, I look at it as leveraging prop firms to support the trader's ability in placing reps in the market while mimicking psychological risk of simulated capital while providing an opportunity to generate strong returns for the investment of real capital. So that's kind of like the kind of high level, right? And so objectively, what are we thinking of here, right? The idea of it is that using prop firms, it's a great opportunity to improve your expected value and probability of a trader by putting reps in on the market. Prop firms are not something that I've always had in the early days. I started trading small caps and options. And for those who have already done that, know how that can really burn personal capital quite quickly. So I think that the prop firm space definitely offers a much lower risk way of learning how to day trade. Hence my comment about improving expected value, probability, and putting simply reps on the marketplace. The other thing I want to talk about is just simulation. I think that a lot of people will say, paper trading is not valuable, and to a certain degree, I understand why. I think that prop firm trading is a perfect medium between the two, where you may not be trading real money, but you are still trading something that's going to cost you something. So I do believe that it helps simulate and improve the psychology of trading overall versus, in comparison to using your own personal capital, such as like self-funded or options trading, right? Last but definitely not least is to take advantage of a vehicle in which can provide a trader the ability to generate a strong return on investment over the course of time by improving one's ability to execute consistently on the marketplace. Okay. And so for prop firms, you can play the simulated phase of getting payouts through that form. But I would imagine that the end game for many people is to take these prop firms and move live with them so that you can trade their live capital with, generally speaking, an 80% to 20% split of profits. Now with that, getting straight into specific Lucid trading, I want to show you guys the accounts. So they have Lucid Direct, which is basically kind of like their straight to funded accounts. You'll be very familiar with what you're seeing here. I am going to go through the details of what these accounts mean and how you kind of should kind of look at them later on as I dig into the slides. A Lucid Pro is one of their original accounts that they've had before, which you can kind of see here as well. Again, pretty solid pricing, all things considered. And then their most recent one, they literally just rolled out in the past 24 hours, is Lucid Flex. And so I'm going to go again into great detail, but this is definitely one of the most competitive plans in the space right now. And it's very hard to compete against. And anyways, with that said, I'm going to kind of jump straight into this now. Okay. So first and foremost, Pro versus Flex. In the evaluation phase, what do we look at as the difference? So you can see here on the slide that I've kind of put up. And by the way, I've grabbed all of this information directly from their website. So none of this is content created by me. It is just directly snipped and placed onto a PowerPoint to present to you guys. Okay. And so you can see here in terms of like account size, profit target, loss, all of it's fairly similar for the most part. The things that I will highlight here that you can see is that with the pro accounts, which is on the left-hand side here, there is no daily loss limit during the eval phase. Um, or sorry, let me rephrase that. My apologies. I meant to say it has daily loss limit for any account basically over 50K to 150K. The 25K accounts are the only ones that don't have daily loss limit. That's what I meant to say. Apologies for that. The benefit to the pro account is that you do have the ability to pass them in 1 day. And since it is real-time activation, as their dashboard is very much live, that means that you don't have to wait till the end of session to actually activate the account. You can actually activate them and get to the funded phase within 5 to thirty minutes of passing the account, which is pretty cool. The flex accounts, where this is going to be very attractive for a lot of people, is that there is no daily loss limit for the evaluation phase. And also, instead of the 1 day pass, there is essentially a 2 day pass, is how you'll look at it. It's a 50% consistency rule with a little bit of a cushion. So, for those who are familiar with other prop firms like Top Step and what have you, you'll be familiar with this consistency rule. There is a decent cushion in between. So, like, this is one of those things where, like, if you're over by 10 or $20 on the eval 50% consistency rule, it will not be the end of the world, right? But above all else, the one thing I will really highlight, which what makes Lucid really stand out, is the fact that it is a one-time eval fee. What does that mean? What does that mean to us, right? For everyone who knows, with evals, generally when you buy an account, you're going to pay a monthly subscription on that account every month until you pass. That is the industry norm. And so most, if not all, are like that already. What they are offering with Lucid is basically that if you buy an account with them as an eval, it's a one-time cost. That's it. There's no resubscription cost unless you obviously blow the account and you want to reset it. Of course, there's fees to that, but there is no subscription. And why this is beneficial, and I tell this actually, this is going to be, going really well with the students that I work with, is because I'm always talking about pacing yourself, not rushing it, and really going with the flow of the trade opportunities that are offered to you and given to you from the market, and to not be pressured by arbitrary things. And one of those arbitrary things can be a subscription. I know many traders that usually about a day or two right before the eval is about to resubscribe again, they'll YOLO their accounts and whatever it may be because they don't want to pay that subscription again. I think this takes a lot of burden off the shoulders of many traders, which I think this in itself already will set this prop firm account from other individuals. So something that's definitely worth noting here. When we go into the funded phase, right? So with the pro funded accounts, there is a scaling daily loss limit for 50K accounts or higher. Again, the 25K accounts have no daily loss limit, but the 50Ks and higher, they do have a daily loss limit. And you'll notice there's a 60% of peak end of day balance. Basically, what that essentially means is that as once you hit a certain profit target amount, whether it's 3K or 9K for 150K count, once you get to a certain point, it becomes basically the scaling daily loss limit becomes 60% of your balance. So the higher the end of day profit is in your account, the higher your daily loss limit is, which does provide a little bit more flexibility for those who really, really do not like that fixed daily loss limit that exists in the early stages. The pro accounts also do have a consistency rule of 35%. I believe right now, as part of their Black Friday deals up until the 3rd of December, if you buy a pro account right now, it's a 40% consistency rule, is what I believe. But double check to make sure you check the FAQs. That's just, again, from what I've seen so far. But 35% consistency rule is the baseline. The beautiful thing about it when you're in the funded phase is that there are no scaling plans. You get the full size of your contracts right from the beginning, and there are no payout caps on this. So obviously, the prop firms will always reserve the right to move you live at their leisure. But as of right now, they have no cap. And what does that mean? Well, a lot of prop firms out there generally will have usually a $50,000 to $100,000 cap limit, which basically means that once you've made up that amount of money in payouts, they will automatically either move you live or basically cease your ability to continue trading with them in the simulated account phase, right? So again, this is one of the things that will set them apart from many other prop firm accounts out there in the space. Now with the flex funded account, again, this is why it's so attractive with low cost and the fact that you have no daily loss limit even in the funded phase, which is huge, and there are no consistency rules. So this alone will make that very attractive, and it's why it's been such a big hit already early on, even though it's only been 24 hours, of why people want these flex accounts. Low cost, low rules, kind of hard to compete, right? With that, I do want to note that the Flex accounts do have a scaling plan. which basically just means in the early stages, until you build up your profit balance, as you can see here on the left-hand side, the more profits you build in the account, the more size you will be able to use. If you remember what I said earlier with the pro accounts, you can use the full contract size right out of the gates, which that means that with a 50K account, you can use 4 minis right from the beginning. But with the flex plan, you have to start off with 2 minis and work your way up until you build the balance. And then once you get to the profit target of 2,000 to 3,000, that's when you have the full amount of contracts unlocked. And that's an example for the 50K account that you see in front of you here. Now, one of the most important things that people are going to want to know about is the payouts. So first and foremost, it's important to everyone to obviously always read the fine print in the policies because there are always very distinctive things unique to each prop firm. So you don't want to just assume. With Lucid, it is a 90-10% profit split, which basically means 90% of the profits you make come to you, 10% goes to Lucid. I know there are some props out there that offer 100% payout for the first 10,000 and then they kind of convert to a different model after that. They don't have that option with Lucid, but to be perfectly honest, it's not the end of the world. Again, I look at trading with props or trading in general as a more of a long-term thing. So I think all in all considered, with the type of rules and flexibility you get from their accounts, I think it's pretty worth it, all things considered. When it comes to the minimum trading profits, you will need, generally speaking, for the pro accounts, starting from the 25K account spot, you'll need at least $50 per day minimum. And then from there on out, it increases by $50 increment. Basically, what that means is that if you have a 50K account, you have to make $100 minimum per day. If you have a 100K account, you got to make $150 minimum per day. And that's just an example for you, obviously, right? When it comes to the flex accounts, it's slightly higher. Instead of starting off at $50 for the 25K accounts, for the 25K accounts for flex, it starts off at $100. So it's a little higher, but again, not the biggest deal in the world. But those are just what will count towards a minimum trading day. So with Lucid, there's also no payout windows, right? So again, there are some props that limit you to when you can request for a payout. There is no payout window. You can request for it as soon as you meet all the criteria that pertains to that specific account that you are trading with. Okay. And in terms of funds, it's important to know that it does happen pretty quick. And again, just like the live dashboard example I mentioned earlier, once you request for the payout and it gets approved, the money does get removed out of your account quite quickly. It's important to note, and again, read this in the disclaimers, right? It's important to note that personally, in my opinion, I usually don't trade the account once I've requested for a payout. I would want to make sure that the payout is paid before I touch the account because you don't want any compliance reasons as to why they would reject a payout. And that's for any prop firm. I'm not talking about specific Lucid. That's any prop firm in general. You want to be safe than sorry, right? Um, and then the other thing that's important to note as well when it comes to these accounts, outside of what's already noted in the slides here, as you can already see, because I'm not going to go over all the specific details, you can totally just pause the video and read through that. Is the what the biggest difference is between the Flex and the Pro is the end game of moving live. With the Flex accounts, there's a lot less rules, of course, and very low cost to entry, which makes it super attractive for beginner traders. Um, However, it does cap you in a sense of when you move live. Let's just say you built up a balance or whatever that looks like, and you can trade up to 5 accounts with Lucid. So let's just say you had 5 Flex accounts. No matter how much profits you would have accumulated, the maximum amount of profits that can be moved live with those accounts is $5,000 per account, which means that if you have 5 accounts with Lucid that are Flex plans, you can move a total of $25,000 to live. If you are looking at the pros, there is no specific number other than that the combined amount, whether it's 1 pro account or 5 pro accounts, the maximum combined amount that you can move over to live is 150,000. So again, I know that seems like a crazy number, and you're thinking to yourself, when am I ever really going to get there? Again, it depends on the kind of trader you're looking at. If you're in here for the long run, you're not here to YOLO and just try to milk, or I think they call it uh, account farming, I think is what they call it. Yeah, if you're here to trade properly for the long haul, that's going to be a huge benefit to be able to take solid payouts while trading pro, while knowing that when you do get to be moved live at some point, you have $150,000 that can be moved to live. So that's pretty sick, right? So there's that. And the last accounts that to go over quickly is their direct to funded, which is basically their straight to funded accounts. I've actually scooped up a 25K direct funded and a 150K direct funded person myself 2 days ago before these flex plans came out. I will be purchasing some flex plans myself as well because I want to kind of go through the motion of the ocean and also share with the community, especially my students, the whole experience from starting the account, trading the accounts to getting the payout. I've traded with a lot of different prop firms and I've capped out with many prop firms, but again, I'll leave that conversation for another day. Anyways, I want to get straight into the funded because I want to go through the whole payout process because I know this is really important to people and I want to go through the experience myself, right? Um, Basically, when it comes to the direct funded, you can kind of see here all the rules are noted down already. Daily loss limit for direct funded accounts. There is one. It's basically there's none for the 25K as usual, but as you work your way up, there is a daily loss limit. Similar to the pro accounts, the end of day balance will be basically the scaling daily loss limit is 60% of the end of day balance. There's no scaling plan, full size, which is great. And again, same thing, just like the pro account, there is no payout cap. So again, just like I mentioned earlier, they can always move you live whenever they want, but at this time, there is no payout cap, which is pretty awesome when it comes to this. And the last thing that's different here when it comes to moving live is that based on what it says in the FAQ today, is you are able to move $15,000 per account over to live. So basically, essentially, what that means is that if you have five direct funded accounts, you can move a total of $75,000 to the live funded phase should they move you to live. So that's kind of like the quick overview. I mean, I say quick, but that was kind of me going high level overview. I'm hoping that offers some value. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comment down below. I'm more than happy to kind of go over that. Again, I will say that, I'm a new trader I should say new trader influencer in this space, so to speak. I don't like to use the word influencer, but I guess that's what people would consider me. But yeah, I'm really new in the space, so I have a very small following. So anything you can do, drop a like, subscribe. It really does help me. I am trying to provide as much valuable content as possible for all the traders that are out there in the space, kind of going through the motion of trading itself, right? So with that said, that's pretty much it. I will look to put more videos out in the near future here. So tune in next time. I'll see you guys around.